This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Now at 6 o'clock, we're continuing to follow breaking news in Hillsboro, where police are investigating a fatal crash.
Our Thomas Schultz is live at the scene right now. Thomas.
Yeah, well, guys, we're on Southwest Baseline Drive, and let me step off so you can see what's going on behind us. There's been a couple fire trucks who arrived on scene about 10-15 minutes ago. Now, behind that white van there is a vehicle, a truck, that's crashed into a tree. It appears like they may have been going the wrong way on a one-way street, but that's unconfirmed right now. Now, Hillsboro police are investigating this as a fatal crash, and you can see firefighters are setting up different tools for this investigation. They recently brought out a stretcher and, of course, are blocking off the scene as well. Now, besides fire, there's, of course, police who are blocking off this street for a couple of streets up as they continue this investigation. They've been out here since we've been out here, so at least an hour is when Hillsboro police first posted about this crash to begin with. But this is just continuing to investigate what exactly happened here. We don't know exactly how many people are involved in this crash, though it appears to be just one. Now, the stretcher is also moving here as they continue to work on this car. We've seen police here all morning long, and we'll continue to provide more information as they continue this fatal crash investigation. Chris?
Thomas, thanks for that. Yeah, typically these take between 4 and 6 hours to wrap up. This started around 4:30, so that gives you an idea. It's going to be a little while. This is a stretch of Baseline through Hillsboro, which carries on the order of about 15,000 cars and trucks a day. So a busy stretch right through the heart of Hillsboro. You can get around this following Main to the north, or perhaps Washington or Walnut to the south. But obviously a major traffic impact this morning for folks in Hillsboro. We'll keep you posted, guys.
Thanks, Chris. We'll continue to monitor this crash throughout our show.
All right, we do want to head over to Rod Hill now, who's tracking this morning's weather forecast.
Well, we did have some clusters of stormy weather last night. Remember that disturbance that we were tracking? We had some lightning strikes, a lot of them down southwestern Oregon, a pretty good cluster that's going to play it again, play it again, play it again, play it again, boom, exiting Newport. You folks are now dry. And we had lightning, then we didn't, now we do again. Here's Highway 26, there's Mitchell, here's Prineville down here. Everything is moving up to the north. It does appear that the chance of any rain for Portland has ended. We had just a dab in parts of the metro last night, and actually the clouds are already starting to break up. So the thick clouds, the rain chance, it's all hightailing it north of us at this hour. We're at 67 degrees, our Rose City camera. Here's your day moving forward. Not as hot today, hip hip hooray on that. 77 at noon, and at most, I may be too high, at most 89 at 5 p.m. That's your forecast.
All right, thank you, Rod. New here at 6 o'clock, the Portland Auditor's Office is following up on a report that Portland police mishandled some visas that were designed for victims of abuse crimes.
Now, specific visas are called U visas, and they're set aside for victims who assist law enforcement. Last year, the Auditor's Office reported that PPB was certifying fewer U visas. The certification rate dropped from almost 90% to below 50% in a year and a half. Auditors found instances where officials misunderstood or misapplied the law and found insufficient policies and training in place for officers as well. Now, the Auditor's Office had several recommendations here, like providing more training to staff. The Auditor's Office says PPB's implementation of their recommendation is currently in progress here. One snag Portland Police Bureau mentioned is it struggles to make corrections is a lack of funding. Still, Portland Police has reviewed around 50 visa applications that were initially denied since last year. They've now approved visas for more than a dozen people.
Also this morning, we're hearing from local lawmakers who knew and worked with former Oregon Senate President Peter Courtney. Courtney died from cancer complications yesterday. He was 81 years old. Courtney is remembered as one of the state's most influential leaders who spent 38 years as an Oregon lawmaker. He was first elected to Salem City Council in 1974, then to the Oregon House in 1981. He moved to the state Senate in 1999 and became Senate President 4 years later, keeping that job for a record 20 years. We spoke to Oregon Senator Ron Wyden about Courtney's lawmaking legacy.
Well, what I remember is Peter Courtney calling me up at 7 or 8 a.m. in D.C. to talk about a pressing matter, and it was like 4 or 5 in Oregon. And Peter was already out of the gate coming up with important ideas, again, to make Oregon an even better place.
Courtney is survived by his wife, Margie. There are 3 sons and 7 grandchildren.
And it just so happens that Courtney was celebrated at the Oregon State Hospital in Salem yesterday, where the campus was named in his honor. The event was planned months ago. Courtney was well known for his work around mental health services, including pushing for more funding for the state hospital.
We're learning more about the death of award-winning Portland chef Naomi Pomoy after she drowned in the Willamette River in Corvallis last weekend. The Benton County Sheriff's Office says Pomoy, her husband, and another person were using tubes and a paddleboard tied together to float down the river. When the group hit some sort of debris, they say Pomoy fell in and became trapped under the water. Authorities say she was not wearing a life jacket. The search continues for her body.
Taking a live look from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the Republican convention continues today. Tonight, Trump's vice president pick, J.D. Vance, will speak, and we'll have a recap of the convention from yesterday coming up later in our show. So the Hillsboro Hops are celebrating after a big vote from city leaders gave them the final piece that the team needed to start building a brand new stadium. Major League Baseball required them to build that new stadium to meet MLB standards. And not too long ago, some people were worried that they might have to leave Hillsboro because of all this. But funding approval for a new stadium from state legislators came earlier this year. Then yesterday, Hillsboro City Council gave its seal of approval, allowing the Hops to start construction. So this seal of approval from the city of Hillsboro includes a 40-year lease with the city. By the way, the new ballpark is going to go right next door to the current ballpark.
People are pumped. You know, there was a lot of uncertainty over the last couple of years, so to have it be official that we're here for 40 plus years in a brand new ballpark, everyone's just jacked up.
Hops president Cale Wambacher added the new stadium won't be just for baseball. They're hoping to make it a year-round entertainment venue with concerts and festivals. It's expected to open in 2026. I've said this many times on the show before, and China, you actually live closest to the Hillsboro Hops Stadium. It is a great summertime activity.
I love going to the Hops games.
Now, the Hops games are great. It's like low A baseball, or I should say it's actually high A baseball, but it's low-level minor league baseball. They put on a major league level production during the games.
And the food.
Yeah. Food's good.
So I will be 102 and they will still be playing ball in that new field. That's exciting.
Yeah, the 40-year lease stuck out to me too, Rod.
Yeah.
That's a heck of an agreement.
I'm like, yeah, they'll still be here. I may go to the ballpark. Here's a look at the disturbance that is throwing the thicker clouds and the rain chance up to the north. As this disturbance, which started down around the southwestern Oregon coast, will weaken as it moves over Newport and then up into Washington, Idaho later today. So it looks like the rain chance up and down I-5 is pretty much done for our area from Kelso, Longview, all the way down to Eugene and Roseburg. We still have lightning that it had fizzled. Now it's back. There's a strike around Burns. Here's another lightning strike right now that's east of Madras. You see that cluster faded, and there it is again. So you folks east of the Cascades not done with lightning strikes yet. And there probably will be some more strikes, or at least a threat thereof, over the Blues later today. Here's the smoke tracker, and this is really impacting part of you. Heavier smoke starting to be expected down in parts of southwestern Oregon. This shows it mainly east of Medford today. By my count, down here there were 16 to 17 new fire starts reported over the past 24 hours, mostly, you would assume, from lightning that hit that area last evening and overnight. Not as smoky in Burns today in Harney County. That's good news, but still some thicker smoke headed towards northern Baker County and then up into parts of Umatilla County perhaps as well. We have the still air quality being reported as very unhealthy though around Burns right now from the smoke in the past that you have had. Again, that smoke expected to thin out somewhat today. Good news for you folks. Some clearing with cloud deck up top. That's kind of cool looking from Uquinna Bay and Newport, 53 degrees where we had that cluster of stormy weather in proximity overnight. Skies are starting to break up somewhat in Portland. The thicker clouds again moving north at this hour, so clearing's coming up from the south. We're at 67 degrees. Other temperatures for you, 59 in Baker City, Burns 72. The Dow 79 after hitting 104 yesterday. Here are the forecast numbers for today. It's going to be cooler. Remember yesterday we went up by like 15 degrees from the previous day. Today we come back down roughly by about 10. Salem was actually 100 yesterday. This shows you 88 today, so that'll be a nice 12-degree cool-off. Morning cloudiness already starting to break up. A sunny afternoon coming. Northwest winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Up in southwest Washington, low 80s up in Longview. That sounds great. 88 or cooler in Clark County. And then Portland, 89 at most. So it's certainly holding shy of 90 today, we feel. Early clouds, then sun, and 87 tomorrow. I still think Saturday's a hotter day, 95 to 97. The one model that's been the most accurate of the ones I look at lately, all of a sudden breaks the heat next week. 85 Monday, 82 Tuesday, maybe some days, I don't want to jinx it, that would struggle to hit 80 next week. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rod. We have some other weather headlines across the world to get to you. Thousands are still without power this morning after destructive thunderstorms impacted the Chicago area this week. Officials say it could take days before power is restored. In addition to power outages, Monday's storm also left dozens of uprooted trees, downed power lines, and property damage. The Texas Ridge Fire continues to rage in western Idaho. The fire has caused evacuation orders and threatened structures across more than 1,300 acres. And according to officials, between 50 to 60 structures are at risk. The fire started Monday and hasn't been contained. Meanwhile, Italian health officials have placed 12 cities under a severe heat warning. Temps have already exceeded 104 degrees and are expected to get higher later this week. Officials say that a series of wildfires have also been burning along the Amalfi Coast.